So you got a shiny new iPad for the holidays and you're not sure what to do with it. Well, the first thing I tell you to do is put a case around it. Whatever's portable and thin and light and slippery like this is going to fall. It's just a matter of time it's going to hit the floor. They have really neat case selections, including some with a keyboard. A little pricey, about $150 for the one with a keyboard, but it works very, very well. All the cases should have openings for the headphones and the speakers and the charging ports, and make sure you get a right one. Some of the Chinese ones don't work all that well, so just double check the ratings before you buy something. And when you turn it on, there's a little button on the upper right hand side, and you'll need to hold that for a few seconds to turn it on. You'll see the Apple logo come on for a second. And the first thing you'll need to do is connect this to a wireless network, because you can't do anything with an iPad, anything fun anyway, without being on the internet. And it only connects to a wireless network. Can't plug any kind of Ethernet in here. So you'll need to connect to a wireless network within range. It shows you all of them within 30 to 50 feet. And then hopefully it's secured. You just type your password in, and then you can connect to your wireless network. And then you can continue the activation. These things have to be activated. You can plug them into a computer to activate them, but nobody does that anymore. The whole thing's done over the Wi-Fi interface, which is really nice. And it takes a little while. You can enable location services, which is really helpful for weather, for if you want to use the maps feature, and also, oh, it flips too. It has a sensor inside which it'll tell it which direction, which orientation to go. So a lot of people like it the wide way. So if you enable location services, it also turns on something called Find My iPad, which will help if something gets stolen or if you lose it, you can actually find it online. You can do a Touch ID where it can recognize your thumbprint in the later iPads and iPhones also. That's really nice. I skip it. It's a pain in the butt to set up. You've scanned your thumb 4 or 5 times, and we could do that later. We're trying to keep this simple. For now, I'm not going to add a passcode. I just want to press the button and turn it on, and you just hit continue. It says, you sure you don't want to do that? You want to add a passcode? So if it's a new iPad and you never had an Apple account before, you can set it up as a new iPad. Otherwise, you can restore it from an iCloud backup. If you have an iPhone, you can actually synchronize this device along with your Apple ID that you used on your iPhone. And this way, it'll migrate all your contacts. It'll synchronize your applications and all that stuff. But if you're just starting out and you don't have an Apple ID, you're going to have to create an Apple ID. This gives you access to the App Store, so you can buy apps, you can buy music, you can buy stuff. You have to put your birthday in there. What's really funny is you can be born in the future, which is really interesting. That's kind of a flaw of iOS 10, hint, hint, hint. So you'll need to put your name in there. And of course, my name is Noah Shit. And I put that in here. And you can use your current email address. If you have a Gmail, Yahoo, whatever, you could use that. But I just got a free You can never have too many email addresses. I like to know where my email is coming from. And you can select it, and it will tell you if that name is available. And I was really surprised to find that Noah Shit was available. Yeah, noahshit@icloud.com. So that's now my new email address. Again, you can use an existing one, and it will tell you, hey, that's not available, and it'll offer you some suggestions. It'll put some numbers after it, whatever. And this way, anything that comes from the Apple Store or the App Store, I will know it's coming from this particular account. If they decide to sell my address to spammers later, I'll know that too. And then you have to create a password. And they do have some password restrictions now. You have to have at least 8 characters. You need a number, an uppercase letter, and a lowercase letter. So you have to make it a little more confusing so it's less easy to get hacked. And then to recover your account, you'll have to answer 3 security questions. You can't get past this either. They're pretty simple questions, though, pretty easy to remember, but I recommend writing down the answers to these questions because a lot of people forget. In the event you lose your password, you're going to need to answer these security questions carefully. Otherwise, it's a real pain in the butt to reset your password. So I do not believe these are case sensitive. It's not asking me to do a case sensitive thing, but I've never actually recovered from security questions before, so I don't know the answer to that. But just if you do use uppercase, just remember that and write that down too. So, and then you have to agree to all this lengthy stuff that no one reads. Have your attorney review all this. Just kidding, you don't really have to do that. This standard form of contract, millions of people have agreed to this. And then it takes a few minutes to create your Apple ID, depending on how much traffic's on the iPad servers or the Apple servers, which is going to be really busy on Christmas probably. So you may have to hold on for a while. Now, Siri is a really neat thing. We'll touch on that a little bit later in this. We're going to skip it for now. You can use Don't Use Siri. I think I hit continue, and the button is involved, and I'll show you what the home button does in a little bit. It's kind of the, oh my God, I'm lost. I never send diagnostics because I don't want to send any information over the internet that I really don't need to send. You know what I mean? I'm not an Apple developer. This is your home screen. So this is what you get when the iPad's finally all set up. And then this is Siri. I'm going to show you that.
Hey, Siri.
That's right. You can ask Siri questions.
Hey, Siri.
by talking to it. How do I use this freaking thing? Well, Siri doesn't have all the answers to everything, but she's pretty helpful in a lot of ways. Hey Siri, tell me a joke. She's terrible. No sense of humor.
I don't really know any good jokes. None, in fact.
Not too funny. What is today's weather? So this is helpful too. You can actually ask your iPad what the weather's going to be like, and it'll pull up an hour-by-hour weather forecast, which is really cool. And then you can click on the top. It'll give you a 5-day forecast. Open music. And also the newest series is being developed to open applications. It's becoming more helpful than ever, and it'll develop as you go along. A little more advanced, but if you get lost, you can always ask Siri what to do. Again, back to your home screen. The thing you want to know is how you operate this thing. Your finger is essentially the mouse. And you get places by touching things on the screen. That's right, it's actually touch sensitive. And you swipe left and right, up and down. And I'm going to allow the weather app to access because I have to let the weather know where I am to have an accurate weather forecast. So, and a lot of applications will ask you, hey, is it okay if we track your location? In most cases you can say yes, unless you're in witness protection or something. So remember, your finger is the mouse. To open things, you click on it, just tap on it. Real light little tap. It'll take a while to get used to. But that's how you do it. It's like a double click on a computer if you're coming from the computer. And you just tap on what you want to go to. I'll take to the Yahoo homepage here. And this is Safari. This is the internet browser. It does the same thing as Firefox, Google Chrome, or Internet Explorer, or Safari on the Mac computers. Now, it is a touch screen, so if you don't have the optional keyboard, the screen pops up. It's a touch screen keyboard that pops up right on your screen there, and you use the screen. You actually use the screen as a keyboard, and you type in your letters. It's a little awkward. It's spaced a little funny. Holding it horizontally like I have it here, the keys are spaced a little bit further apart. If you hold it portrait-wise, the keys are a little smaller, so some people with bigger fingers like it this way. So you can pull up any website in the world, banking websites, news websites, our website at computercareclinic.com. And it integrates perfectly with HTML5. It plays YouTube videos. You can play some games. You can fill out forms for your banks. You can do a lot of PDF stuff on this. It's a very, very useful, robust browser, and it is completely secured. It's got the latest security, assuming you have the latest version of iOS, and it's automatically updated, which is really nice. Now, this is called pinch and zoom. This is a really neat feature. So if it's a little hard on the eyes and you can't see anything that's that small, just pinch it. Put 2 fingers on there and pinch and zoom. And you can actually make that text image or whatever you want a little bit bigger so you can actually see it. And then you can just pinch back out to make it smaller again in case everything doesn't fit on the screen. So the search is all done up top there. You can type whatever you're looking for right in that bar, or just click one of those preset shortcuts and bang, you're off to the races. This is the Google homepage. And again, anything that'll work on Internet Explorer, Firefox, or Chrome will work on Safari for the most part. I'd say 99% of things here. It also can store favorites too. If you click the little, it's a box with an up arrow now, and that's how you're going to store your favorites / bookmarks, all that stuff there. And this does tabbed browsing, meaning you have all these tabs along the top. You could end up with 50 or 60 if you're not careful. If you want to close them, just click the little X, tiny little X with your finger, and you can close the rest of those tabs. But you can have, I've seen some people with 20 or 30 of them open. It doesn't seem to affect the speed of it at all, which is really nice. So that's your Safari browser. Again, this is this little box with the up arrow. You can access on the bottom here, add to favorites, and create a list of favorite places, just like you did on Internet Explorer or Firefox or Chrome. And that's really helpful. A real quick way to get to your favorite websites, like news sites. You put your Fox News, your Weather Channel, your favorite newspapers in there, your banking websites. All that stuff works there, and you can save that all to the onboard favorites folder inside your iPad, making it real easy for you to use. Of course, you can always type whatever you want up top, too. If you want to go to Facebook or anything else, you want to go to Google, AOL, you can even check your AOL mail on these things. It's very, very universal, very easy to use once you get into it. I know it seems like a lot to learn coming from a computer, but once you get into this, it's going to be a lot easier for you. So Safari's going, I'm going to let Safari know my location, so if I'm looking for a store or something, it won't give me one in Poughkeepsie, and it'll show me my local stores in this area here too, just for example. So I'm going to let Safari track my location. And it tracks it by your IP address. It also has some GPS coordinates inside, so it can really track your location down to actually a couple of feet now if you use the Maps feature, which is really cool. So this is one of my websites here. It's written in WordPress, and again, it renders perfectly fine here. iPad typically does mobile type ready sites because it's technically a mobile device. It's not really a laptop or a computer. So, and I'm going to add this one to my favorites, and I click save. And if I want to get to my favorites, I scroll. I don't scroll. I actually move over to the left. You see that little book on the upper left-hand side? To access your favorites, you would just press that little book there, and it would show you the list of favorites. So books, bookmarks, favorites, whatever you want to call them here. I haven't differentiated between the two yet. We'll figure that out in a different video. You can also look at your history here. So if you went to a site a couple of days ago and you're like, well, what was that site I went to? You can look at your history. I think it keeps about a week in there. You can adjust that too. And it's got some sharing features and other stuff. And again, all your favorites are going to be loaded up here. Quick, easy way to get to the sites that you always get to without having to search for them or make a mistake typing into them. That's a lot of people get malware. They type in, they misspell their website and it goes to a different site bought by a bad guy who put malicious software on it, and you never want to do that. So that's where the book is, the little book. See, that must make sense. Instead of a star, we got a little book for bookmarks. Get it? And this little @ symbol here is for shared links. We'll get into that in a future video too. A little more complicated stuff. But basic web browsing, very cool. If you want to get rid of the bookmarks on the left side and you want to use the full screen, you would just hit the bookmark again and it would disappear. Now, the second thing we're going to look at is mail. You can get your email on these things, and a number of accounts. Right now, I set up with this new Apple ID, my Noah shit at iCloud.com. And it's automatically created and set up this email box for you. I can immediately start using it as long as I'm on Wi-Fi anywhere in the world, and I can send and receive mail from noahshit at iCloud.com. Don't send any email there. I probably won't answer it. I'll probably forget what the password was anyway. But just use that for the example of this video. But to show you how easy it is, it's already set up. I didn't do any additional configuration. This email account was ready for me to use immediately right after I set up my iPad. And to create a new mail, you just click on this little box with the pen in the upper right-hand corner. And if you had contacts in here, they would start populating out here. Of course, this is a brand new setup, so I don't have anything there yet. And it'll start to build, and you can actually build your contacts list and your address book as you go along. You can migrate everything from another computer into here to a little more advanced too. A lot of people will just type them in one at a time, and you can build it from people who send you emails too. Another way to build your address book here. And just like any other email, like you're using Outlook or Outlook Express or Windows Live Mail or Thunderbird or whatever, it's a pretty fully functional email program. You can send and receive attachments. You can forward to lists and create lists and all kinds of stuff in here. It works very well, very well, surprisingly well. Not so much virus, malware scans on these things. You really don't have to worry about that on iOS so much yet. There are programs available, but I haven't used one, and I haven't seen I think I've seen one incidence of malware on an iPad. I've seen a lot on Mac computers, but not so much on the iPads yet. It's probably coming, but just keep your eyes open. Just don't open things for people you don't know, and stay away from attachments that look kind of wonky, you know. It's a lot harder to do it on an iPad because the iOS is a closed environment. So Apple kind of has to approve all the software before it comes through, unless you do something called jailbreaking, and we'll talk about that later too. So FaceTime is a real neat feature. A lot of kids get their parents these things so they can FaceTime. What it is, it's a video conferencing system, really. There I am. And, well, that's awkward. And what they'll do is you can do, like, if you remember the Jetsons, they had these big TV walls. Well, that is now a real thing. It's been here for a while. And you can actually get to people by their Apple accounts, either their cell phone number or their Apple-associated email address. It could be any email address in the world as long as it's associated with an Apple account. Here I am calling myself, which is really awkward. And if you could hear the sound, it'd be really nasty feedback, so I cut that out for you. So FaceTime, real neat feature on there. If your kids got it, you can watch your grandkids all over the world in real-time video, full color. It's beautiful in HD too. Settings. These are where you're going to find all your settings for your brightness, for your volume, if you want to change Wi-Fi. If you're going over somebody else's house, you're going to a library, you can hit the Wi-Fi button and connect to somebody else's Wi-Fi. Your brightness here has some adjustments. If you like it really bright, I call it cornea burning. You can see it takes a little while to get used to it. I'm having a hard time with this too. Of course, I'm doing it through a camera. And then they have a night shift, which makes it a little more pink, which supposedly makes it easy for you to sleep, because blue apparently keeps you awake, or white keeps you awake. I'm not sure what the deal is here, but that's what the night shift is. And then you can change your wallpaper if you want to. If you don't like this crashy wave stuff they have going on here, you can change that to whatever you want. You can upload your own pictures. You can download some off the internet, and Apple gives you a bunch to choose from on here too. So that's a nice way to actually customize your personal iPad, make it personal. They've got animated backgrounds with different colors. I chose the red one here, but it really bothered me, so I took that off pretty quick. deal with it. So you can change just anything you want. There's static backgrounds, and again, you can upload your own. You can pull them down from Facebook. You can download them on the internet, and they come with some pretty nice ones too. Some planets here. I don't know if that's Neptune or Uranus. I'm going to go with Uranus just because it sounds funnier. It's probably Neptune. I'm not sure what it is. But you can set it for both for your home screen and your background, and that's fine too. You can play around with that. Not hard to do. Sounds here. You can change your sounds to just about anything you want. A whole bunch of built-in sounds. They're not really flexible in terms of uploading your own sounds. You pretty much have to use what they have, or you got to buy something from the App Store. You can't really upload your own, although I haven't tried that in iOS 10.2. There might be a new change there. And then you can, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff here you can do. There's sound for just about anything, and you can make it unique that you will know exactly what's going on. So if you have 10 iPads in your house, you'll know exactly what's going on. Now, I've seen a lot of customers do this. There's a control center. You can actually swipe up from the bottom like this, and if you hit the wrong thing, you will actually put your system in mute. And I had one guy, it was driving him crazy. He goes, I can't hear the swoosh when I send my email. And he had this little button pressed for some reason. It's a mute. It muted his whole system, except for when he played music. And you'll find airplane mode here. Real easy way to get to Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and some of your other settings here. And it's customizable too. Your brightness is here also, and you can flip on the camera stuff. You swipe up from the bottom, from the white part or the black part of your iPad. Just swipe directly up, and you'll bring up this little control thing here. And you can lock your orientation, so you can lock it in portrait. So if it drives you nuts, if you turn it back and forth, you can do that. You can prevent it from changing from portrait to landscape. So we get displaying brightness, wallpaper, sounds, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Just remember this thing too, man. This will drive you nuts if you have that thing in there, that menu that swipes up from the bottom. Now Siri is the talking assistant, and you can now change Siri to male or female. And in English, you have the choice of American, Australian, or British. And it downloads a pretty quick little file, a little sample. If you want to use the whole language, it downloads a whole bunch more, and it uses up a little bit of your memory. But it's pretty good. The female American, she sounds kind of, well, Susan Bennett's kind of a little snotty. But the Australian and British, in my personal opinion, sound a lot more friendly as far as the females go, and the males are kind of wonky. Touch ID and password, you can add this if you want to do that later. If you got people in your house or where you're staying and you don't want them to get into your iPad, you can add a fingerprint. Then they'd have to cut your finger off, or you can put a passcode in there too. You can play around with that later. And there's some battery stuff and some privacy settings here. And again, these are a little more advanced. We'll cover that in a future video. Your iCloud is kind of important because there's not a whole lot of storage on these things. I think this one has 32 gigabytes, or actually it might have a little bit more. But when you start running out of space, you can save stuff to the cloud. The cloud is essentially just a big computer in some warehouse somewhere that a whole bunch of people share, and they call that a cloud drive. So they give you 5 gigabytes for free with an iTunes account from Apple, and you can store anything you want, your pictures, your contacts, and it's really nice if you lose this thing or if you break it, or if you want to synchronize between an iPhone and an iPad, the iCloud will store all that stuff for you and allow you to easily sync over the internet. I always hit find my iPad, want to make sure that's on, because I like to, if somebody steals it, I want to know it is, and send last location in case somebody steals it and the battery runs out. It will send the last known location, and you can contact the authorities and let them take care of it. Don't try to take care of it yourself. So a lot of these things you can turn off because they will take up a lot of space in your cloud drive. Remember, you only have 5 gigs, and if you're taking a lot of pictures, it's going to use that up a lot, very, very fast. That and movies and music and all that stuff. Some iTunes and App Store settings here. You can leave most of these alone for the most part, and it won't really affect anything. Here's in the mail under settings, you can add some different accounts here. And most of the most popular accounts like Yahoo and Google and all that stuff, all you have to do is type in your email address, the full email address, and your password for any of these types of accounts, Google, AOL, Yahoo, all those, and it will automatically find the settings, so you no longer have to find all those goofy POP and IMAP settings. It'll set it up for you automatically, which is really nice. Some stuff here for contacts, and then the calendar, notes, reminders, all this other stuff which you can play with, and we'll cover some of this stuff in an upcoming video. Nice, you can sync your iCloud calendar to the cloud too, so you can set it up under an iPhone and an iPad. So if you set up all your appointments on your iPad, you can check them on your iPhone when you're on the go. Some different ways to tell you how much you're storing and which app is using which, and then you can change your storage plan if you need more than 5 gigs, which a lot of people run out of really quick, especially with movies and music. You can upgrade to a 50 gig plan for about $1 a month, about $12 a year, probably worth it for most people. Go up 200 gigabytes and 1 terabyte and then 2 terabytes if you really need that much space. Remember, these are monthly charges, and if you don't need it, you can downgrade. If you do downgrade, they're going to delete all the stuff in your iCloud, so just be aware of that. Make sure you've backed it up somewhere else to a computer or something else. So these are the settings. Remember, when you get lost, you hit your magical home button on the right, that little round button. That's the also your wake up button too. If most people don't turn their iPads off totally, you can usually put it to sleep, and it'll go to sleep after a couple minutes on its own. To wake it up, you have to press that button once to turn the power on, and the second time to see your home screen. So that's 2 presses if it's totally dark. There's also the button up top too. And you can set how long it takes to go to that sleep mode to turn the screen off and save your battery. You can do 2, 5, 10, 15, or never. So most people leave it at about 2 minutes. It's not really, you put a password on there. The other thing too is when it goes to sleep and you press that button and you have a password or you have a fingerprint enrolled, you will have to authenticate and put your passcode in or your thumbprint before it wakes back up. So when it goes to sleep, just be aware. Now, closing applications, you don't have to do this. The iPad manages memory very well, but it's a double click of that button. That's 2 clicks, double click of the home button, and it'll show you everything you've got open. If you want to close stuff, just swipe them up into the sky, just like I did back there a couple seconds ago. And you can watch all this stuff on this video again.
Open
to get
the
Siri,
App
you'll
Store.
hold on to that button. And Siri can open applications now. I just told it to open the App Store. And I'm going to allow the App Store to use my my location. And I'm not going to do family sharing. We'll talk about that later. That's a neat little feature too. And you'll see that there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of apps available. Games, utilities, word processing programs, calendars, dieting programs, just about anything you can think of, it is in the App Store. There's art, there's coloring books, there's financial applications, there's books and music and podcasts and movies and just about, again, anything you can think of for any age group in here. A lot of people are doing the coloring books now, although it's kind of weird to color on an iPad. This is an iPad Pro, so there's actually an available stylus with it, which is kind of a pen, which acts like a pen/marker/paintbrush, which is pretty neat. We don't have that for this particular one. It is optional, but you can do that and actually write on this thing and do some neat art applications. Completely not necessary, but just a nice little thing you can do here. There's a search in the upper right-hand corner. And again, a lot of people use this instead of a Kindle. You can actually download the Kindle app and read all your books on an iPad, which is really neat. A lot of really neat customizations, too. You can make the background black or white or whatever you want. And then you get YouTube. You can watch Netflix. You can watch Hulu. Play Pokemon. Nobody does that anymore. Listen to Pandora and then sync it up with a Bluetooth speaker. You can download the official Gmail app if you're having a hard time getting that to synchronize with the mail application, which used to be a problem. You can use Skype. So if you want to do one of those video phone calls with somebody else who doesn't have an iPad, you can use Skype and talk to people in Windows. Right now we're going to do one for example. I'm going to download the Facebook application. You can get to Facebook on the internet using Safari. Just log into Safari and it'll work the same way it does on a PC or a Mac. Now, when you have to remember that iTunes or that Apple password that we set up. So I went ahead and keyed that in here, and I made a mistake. And if I made a mistake, it'll come back up here, and I'll have to type it in again. And it's going to say, hey, you've never used this in the iTunes store. Well, no crap, Sherlock. I'm going to put that in there. We'll have to review some terms. And again, have your attorney look these over. Just kidding. Just go ahead and agree with them. Millions of people already did. Doesn't mean that's right, but it is what it is. And if you want to use the store, you've got to agree to this stuff. If you decline, then nothing. You got to read 15 pages of this stuff. Okay. And just hit the agree button, and you should be good to go. I'm not a lawyer. If you really have any concerns, please contact your attorney. Now, you don't have to put any billing information in here. Of course, you can if you want to. If you want to buy some apps, you'll need to put a credit card number in here. But now you don't have to. It's really nice. It will make you choose a title, so I just chose Doctor. Why not? Dr. Shit. I think it's perfect. And it'll ask you for your address and a phone number. I don't know why they need all that information. You could put whatever in there. It doesn't have to be real. But if you do want to buy stuff, you should probably put the same address you have for your credit card billing information. And then once all that's entered, you just click Get and then Install. And then it comes up with another thing. It's going to ask you for that password one more time. It'll drive you nuts. Again, this is that Apple password for your iCloud account that you set up when you first set up your iPad. And I set it to require after 15 minutes. And there's another option that comes up later after you've downloaded a couple apps saying, don't require the passcode or password for free applications, because there's really no reason for a password if you're putting free applications in, only if you're buying stuff. Because who cares if people download free applications? It's not costing you anything. Not going to hit your credit card. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now it installs, and bang, it's put a new icon on my second page. Remember, we swipe back and forth. You can see those little dots on the bottom. It tells us how many pages we have there. So we have 3 pages now. 2 pages of icons and one with that control center, information center. To move stuff, you hold the icon. Put your finger on it, hold it, and they'll start squiggling. See how they're kind of jiggling like a little bell? And then you can drag it to another page and move it somewhere else. And just let it go. You can also create groups this way. Again, a little bit more advanced, but just if you see people do this, you'll know what to do. Don't hit the X, because the X will uninstall that application, and unless you want to do that, don't do that. But that's how you get rid of applications too. You hold onto the icon for 2 or 3 seconds till it jiggles, and then click the S if you want to delete it. This is the Facebook app. You just, if you have a Facebook login, you just put your email address and your password in there, and bang, you're in Facebook. This is the way that Facebook prefers you to do it. It's native for the Facebook. Facebook controls this app, so there's a little less bugs with it, a little less problems, and it appears to be a little bit more stable. Remember to get back home, press your little home button. If you ever get lost and you've got too many windows up, you have no idea where you are, you don't have to turn it off. Just hit that round little circle, that home button, and you're back in business. To get out of this page, just click anywhere outside that white spot, and bang, you're back in the App Store. And you can use the arrows in the upper left-hand corner. You can go forward, backwards. You can swipe left and right. You can click on these categories on the bottom for top charts. It'll show you top free apps, top paid apps, and what everybody else in the world is downloading, along with the price, if there is a price associated with it. Some of the apps are free to start with, but they have something called in-app purchases. So if you want to play a level, they'll give you first level for free, and if you want to go to the next level or buy coins or buy power-ups or something, then they charge you a couple of bucks in the game. Again, it's totally optional. You don't have to do it. You can play the first couple of levels to your heart's content, and then buy it if you choose to do that, but then you'll need to put your credit card information in there. So that's it. That's how to the basics of how to install apps. Your updates you'll see pop up here. There'll be a little number in red if there's any updates. You don't have to do them, but it gives you a little more stability and security, so it's probably a good idea. When you see those updates, just go ahead and let them install. They're probably already downloaded in the background. Again, to get home, press your home button, bang, back to your home screen with your main icons. It's that simple. It's that simple if you get lost. All right, one more thing. The volume control is on the side here. There's a manual switch for the volume control. It's got an up and down. You press it down to go down and up to go up and blah, 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 and you'll see a little indicator come up on the screen, which is pretty cool. There's also another way to do it. You can use the settings and then click on sounds, and sounds has a volume control in it also, which is the same thing as the one on the side. And also you have the option to turn off the buttons on the side if you want to do that too. So slide that back and forth, left and right, and it'll determine what the volume, the total overall volume is. Some of the other applications have volumes inside them too. And remember to watch out for this mute button. If you hit this mute button inadvertently, your iPad's not going to make any sounds. You're going to call Apple for support and probably pay somebody, and you're going to be really embarrassed that you made such a silly mistake. It took me an hour to figure that out when that guy brought it in. Remember, you get stuck, hit your little home button, and that's it. Swipe left and right. Touch and tap to open up applications, and don't be afraid of it. There's really nothing you can break here. And if you get stuck, you can always hold the home button down and go to Siri too. So a lot of different things. But check out the rest of our videos on our channel. We got a lot more information on these things. We'll get into some advanced stuff. What else did I want to show you here? Well, just play with it. Get used to the tapping and touching, and then you'll get used to the feel of this thing, and before you know it, you'll be like, wow, I never needed a PC. Now I just use my iPad. My name's Chuck Fresh with Computer Care Clinic. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and donate some money. And this is me. Actually, I clean up pretty well, don't I? Yeah. And we've got a whole bunch of more videos coming up. Thanks again for watching.
In a world of confusing technology, one man aims to save you from the craziness. And that man is Chuck Fresh, the PCGYN. And this is Computer Care Clinic's collection of tips of the day.
I just wanted to thank you for posting all the videos on Computer Care Clinic that you have posted over the past couple of months. It has made my transition to technology much easier than if I would have had to go it alone. So just a word of my thanks and appreciation for posting all that stuff out here on YouTube.
I'm Casey Kasem, and you're listening to the Computer Care Clinic, the PCGYN. His name is Chuck Fresh, and he'll help you with your computer problems. So thanks for listening to Computer Care Clinic.
This is a message for Chuck Grodins. I wanted to thank you for all the help that you've given me with knowledge in terms of running Windows and Microsoft Office. It's pretty tough for an 80-year-old person to learn this from scratch, so it's been very helpful. Just wanted to thank you very, very much.